Hello guys, welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to be talking about measures of spread. Last time we talked about the measures of center, the mean, the median and the mode. So today we are going to be looking at those measures or values that tell us about the spread or the width of the data. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the range, the standard deviation and the variance of samples and populations. The first thing we're going to talk about is the range, and we're going to do that using these set of numbers 19 through 44. The range is simply asking us to find the difference between the largest number and the smallest number. Okay, so you subtract the smallest number from the biggest number. In this case, the biggest number here is 44 and the smallest is 19. So the range will be 44 minus 19, and that gives us 25. So the range is 25. So whenever you're given a set of data, you look at the smallest number and the highest number, subtract the smallest from the highest, and that gives you the range. So to compute the standard deviation and variance for the same set of numbers, we're going to go to our TI-84 plus. So go to edit, start edit and enter. Again, you will notice that numbers are already pre-entered for the sake of time. So these numbers 19 through 44 are entered in L1. So that's what we are going to be working with first. So to compute the standard deviation and variance, we go to start as usual and go to calc. The one variable statistics, no frequencies. So we enter, the list is in L1, there's no frequency, so we go ahead and calculate. So if we calculate, you see that the mean is 29.27, but we are not interested in that right now. We did that last time. We go down to where you see SX, that is the sample standard deviation, and right below it is the population standard deviation sigma x. You will notice also that the sample standard deviation 7.824 is slightly higher than the population standard deviation 7.46. Okay, the reason is that to compute the standard deviation of the sample, we divide by n minus 1, while the population standard deviation is divided by, you will compute that by dividing by n. So in doing that, you can see that for sample standard deviation, if you divide by n minus 1, it means the denominator is smaller, which means you are going to get a higher output. Okay, so that's the reason that the sample standard deviation is usually higher than the population standard deviation. So I'm going to write this right here. The sample standard deviation is 7.824, and the variance, we'll talk about that later. The population standard deviation is 7.460. Okay, now to compute the variance, you always square the standard deviation, the values of the standard deviation. So in this case, we're going to square 7.824. I'm going to do it right here, 7.824 squared. This is what squared is, squared, and that gives me 61.215. Okay, now the variance for the population, we do the same thing. We're going to do 7.460 squared. That gives us 55.652. I'm keeping everything to 3 decimal places for now. You can choose the number of decimal places you want to leave it. So that is how we compute the standard deviation and variance for a set of numbers, no frequencies. Now go down to look at these numbers again, but now we have a frequency column. Remember, or you can notice that these numbers are exactly the same as what we have up here. The only difference is that it's now showing the number of times each number appears. You can see that 30 has a frequency of 2, meaning that 30 appeared 2 times. Okay, so we expect that the values for standard deviation and the values for variance are going to be the same, because we are working with the same numbers. So if you are given a table like this, values of x with frequency, and you want to compute the standard deviation and variance, you're going to do this. Go to start and enter. Let's see, L2 and L3 has have these values. So values of x are in L2 and frequency in L3. So we go to start, go to calc, and we're going to select one variable statistics. And again, this time we're going to change the list. The values of x are in L2, second 2, that's L2, and the frequency list is in L3. So we're going to change this to L3. So second 3. So our frequencies are stored in L3. Okay, you can see right here in L3. That's where our frequencies are. Okay, so to calculate, like we did, we go to calc. So we already have that entered. So go down and calculate. So you can notice that we have exactly the same thing, 29.27 as a mean. Then the standard deviation for the sample is 7.824. Let's write it here. It's exactly the same thing as what we had up here. And the population standard deviation is the same thing, 7.460. So let's put it right here. So we have 7.824, and the population standard deviation is 7.460. The variance will be the same because the standard deviations are the same. So we have 61.215, and then we have the variance of the population, 55.652. Okay, so that is how we compute the standard deviation and variance for a table with frequency. Next time we're going to be looking at how we compute the standard deviation and the variance of classes with frequencies. Okay, so see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.